This is the VVSmriti 55-inch rectangular white kitchen table, and the biggest thing it has done for me is remove the anxiety of daily use. I cook, I serve, I spill, I work, and it still looks like I just unboxed it. I think of this as a modern dining and kitchen table for anyone who wants the look of white marble without the maintenance that usually comes with real stone. It fits best in apartments and medium-sized dining rooms where you want a clean centerpiece that doubles as a dependable workspace. If you host a few friends for dinner, or you live with family, or you pull a laptop out at mealtime and turn the table into a desk, this sits right in that sweet spot. It is not trying to be a show piece you tiptoe around. It is meant to be used every single day. On design, here is what actually matters. The top has that white marble-inspired look with soft veining. It is glossy, so light bounces off it in a really calm way, and it brightens the room even on a cloudy morning. The surface is stone, and it feels cool to the touch, dense and reassuring. I run my palm across it and there are no seams, no odd texture changes, no little ridges to catch crumbs. It is a true single, smooth slab feel. The legs are metal with a simple, straight profile that gets out of the way visually. They have floor protectors on the bottom, which means I am not afraid to slide the table a little when I am vacuuming or when I am shifting the room for guests. The proportions are practical. It is long enough to seat a small group comfortably, and narrow enough that I can reach the center when I am cleaning or setting a shared dish down. There is knee room from every side, and I have not knocked my shins on the legs when I scoot in. That sounds obvious, but not every table gets that spacing right. Setting it up was a calm afternoon project. The process is straightforward. You attach the frame, secure the four legs, and snug everything down. I appreciate that the parts line up cleanly. I did not need any special tools beyond what came in the box, though I used my own larger handle to make the final turns easier on my hands. Doing it alone is possible, but the tabletop has real weight to it. I was able to move it with a slow, careful approach, and I still recommend having another person there when you flip it upright or position it in the room. With two people, assembly feels like a half-hour job. On my own, it took closer to an hour, including unboxing, placing the protective foam aside, and a quick wipe to remove a little bit of packaging dust. Once built, the table does the two most important things a table should do. It sits flat and it stays still. I can lean an elbow into the corner and the surface does not flex. I can set down a full pot in the middle and the table does not shiver or shift. There is a quiet confidence to a heavy, solid top on a properly braced base, and this absolutely has that. The feet protectors help it sit cleanly on wood flooring. If your floors are a bit uneven, a thin felt pad adjustment at one corner will square it up, but in my space, I did not need to fuss with it at all. Let me talk about the surface, because that is where the real value shows up day to day. I treat dining tables like working surfaces. Breakfast in the morning, laptop and notepad around lunch, chopping and plating in the evening, and usually a drink somewhere in there. The stone finish here has shrugged off heat better than any laminate top I have owned. I have set down hot dishes, a cast iron pan that had cooled a bit off the stove, and baking sheets straight from the oven onto a folded towel, and I have not seen rings, haze, or faint outlines that linger. I still use trivets for anything that is straight out of the oven, because that is just good practice, but I am not anxious if a guest forgets and puts something warm on the table for a moment. Stains have not been a problem. Red wine, tomato sauce, coffee, and a splash of soy sauce all wiped clean with a damp cloth and a little dish soap. No shadow stains, no ghost marks. Scratch resistance has been very good. I do not cut directly on any table, but I have dragged a ceramic plate and slid a serving tray without thinking, and I do not see hairline marks under normal room light. The glossy finish will show fingerprints and light smudges if you catch it at a low angle near a window. A microfiber cloth and a spritz of glass cleaner takes care of that in seconds. That is the trade-off with a gloss table. You get this bright, elegant look, and you take an extra half minute when you notice hand marks. In real use, I have had a handful of different scenarios on it. Pasta night with friends where the platter goes in the center, and there is a little bit of splatter from the sauce. That cleaned up like it never happened. A board game session where we leaned on the edges, rolled dice, and slid cards around. The surface has a pleasantly low friction feel. It is not sticky, not powdery, and paper cards pick up cleanly without getting their corners damp or bent. A work day where I had a 15-inch laptop, an external keyboard, a mouse, a notebook, and a mug of coffee. I'm about average height, and the typing posture felt natural with the chair I use daily. The table has enough depth that I can push the laptop back and keep a full-sized plate in front of it, which is dangerously convenient during long days. And a Sunday afternoon baking session where I rolled dough with flour right on the surface. The flour did not cling when I cleaned up. A quick wipe left the finish streak-free. Seating has been flexible for me. 4 people is easy with plenty of elbow room. 6 is totally workable if you add chairs at the ends. Plates, glasses, and a couple of shared dishes still fit without everyone feeling cramped. I like that the rectangle shape gives me predictable place settings. If you host more often, this size plays nicely with benches on one side and chairs on the others. If you need something smaller or larger, the same design comes in other sizes, so you can match your space without changing the look. One thing I appreciate that does not show up in product photos is the sound of the table in use. Some glossy surfaces make a sharp, loud clink when you set a glass down. This one has a firm sound, but it is not harsh. There is a little dampening thanks to the mass of the top, and it makes me less self-conscious about setting things down during late-night snacking. There are small quirks worth mentioning. The weight that makes it feel so solid also makes it a pain to move when you want to rearrange the room. I can slide it a bit on wood floors, but if you like to refresh your layout often, plan on calling in a friend. The glossy white finish resists stains well, but it will highlight dust or crumbs if you skip a day. A quick wipe becomes part of my morning reset. The corners are clean and modern. They are not rounded, so if you have small kids who run laps around furniture, you might want to add corner guards until the running stage passes. None of these are deal breakers for me, but they are part of living with a polished white stone look. Beyond the basics, a few thoughtful details add up. The leg placement lets me cross my legs under the table from the long side without hitting a brace. The underside of the top is clean, so chair arms do not catch. The floor protectors come already installed and have not peeled or snagged on rugs. The finish diffuses sunlight nicely. On bright afternoons, my dining room feels lighter without getting glare that bothers my eyes. My favorite specific use case has been weeknight dinners that flow straight into cleanup and then into work. I will plate food, eat, stack the plates at one corner, and wipe the surface in one pass with a damp cloth. No rings, no sticky patches that need scrubbing. Then I pull over the laptop and a notebook and the table becomes a desk. The surface does not shift under key presses, and my chair slides in close without my knees hitting anything. It is an easy transition that lets me use one piece of furniture for 3 different moments without thinking about it. On weekends, it flips into hosting mode just as easily. A charcuterie board in the middle, a pitcher of iced tea, and 6 place settings feel right at home. If you are wondering about matching this with other furniture, it has been surprisingly forgiving. I paired it with fabric chairs for a softer look, then swapped in molded plastic chairs with wooden legs, and it still worked. The white top and simple black metal legs act like neutrals. Rugs with color or texture do a lot of the styling. You can lean minimal or you can go more eclectic, and the table sits quietly in the middle without clashing. Over the past several weeks, nothing about the build has loosened. The bolts stayed tight. There is no rattle when I nudge the table with a hip. The finish has not developed weird cloudy areas. The top still feels perfectly flat. When I slide a glass across the surface, it glides in a straight line and does not find low or high spots. That is the kind of boring reliability I want in a table, and it is exactly what I am getting here. If you are choosing between this and a traditional wood table, the decision comes down to priorities. Wood gives you warmth and a softer, matte look, but it can scratch and stain more easily, and it needs more babying. This stone top gives you that clean, modern marble look with real daily durability. If you move often or live up several flights of stairs, be honest about the weight before you commit, because this is not a light piece. If you want an extendable table with leaves for holiday gatherings, this is a fixed-length design. For me, the stability, easy cleanup, and stay bright finish outweigh those trade-offs. So where does that leave my recommendation? If you want a modern white table that you can live on without worrying, if you like a bright, polished surface that can handle heat and spills, and if you want a piece that comfortably seats a small group while also pulling double duty as a work surface, this is a very dependable choice. It is the kind of table that quietly makes your space feel more put together while actually being put to work every single day. I trust it because I have used it like a real human being, and it has kept its promises. I will update specific information about the VVSmriti 55-inch rectangular white kitchen table in the comments. Don't forget to catch my next video.